Welcome to Cartoon Crossroads Columbus, or CXC 2021. Our 4-day celebration of cartoon art couldn't happen without our partner organizations, to whom we are grateful. CXC is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our annual festival, free to the public, relies on corporate and grant support, as well as individual donations. We are grateful for their support. Visit the Support CXC link on our website to find out how you can help us create meaningful connections between the people who make comics and those who read them. Cartoon Crossroads Columbus acknowledges that the ancient ancestors of the Eastern Woodland tribes, now referred to as the Adena and Hopewell cultures, inhabited the land we know as Ohio. Their descendants include the living nations of the Shawnee, Miami, Wyandotte, Delaware, and Seneca Cayuga. We honor and respect the diverse indigenous peoples connected to this place where we gather. We hope you enjoy the event. Don't forget to visit our virtual expo at cartooncrossroadscolumbus.org and keep the conversation going in our Discord channel, which you can find at cartooncrossroadscolumbus.org/discord.
Welcome everybody to the first night of CXC, Cartoon Crossroads Columbus. Tonight we have a very special interview lined up for everybody. This is Lewis Trondheim. He is one of the most prolific and I think one of the most important French language cartoonists that we've seen in a very long time. He's not only done a number of books, many of them have been translated into English, but he's also won an incredible amount of awards. He's a co-founder of a very important artistic publishing house, the Association, and he won the Grand Prix Award at Angoulême. These are all very amazing achievements. And he's also one of the most amazing, funny people I've ever met, and we've met a few times on the road. We'll talk about all those things, but also I want to say that presenting with me today to talk to Lewis is Thierry Mornet. He's an author. He's written books like Guardians of the Republic. He's also one of the editors at Editions Delcourt, one of the largest publishers of comics in France. And he's also my editor at Editions Delcourt in France. He oversees the Bone books. In fact, you oversee all the US books like Hellboy and all that good stuff. Anyway, without further ado, let's get these cats on the screen. Hello, Lewis.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Terry.
Hi everyone.
All right.
Well, hey, Jeff, I found a picture of us.
Uh-oh. What's this?
20 years ago. It was at the Comic-Con in San Diego. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
I was introduced to Lewis by Kim Thompson, the late great editor of Fantagraphics books, who was putting out, was it The Amazing Adventures of Makoni, or The Spiffy Adventures of Makoni?
Yes, and I was bold.
Yeah,
the sun guy.
But to me, I first met you in Barcelona. That's what I mean. We first met in San Diego. Where that picture was taken. But I really got to know you. At least I felt like when we were in Barcelona together. And I remember we would get stuck in these little press rooms where people would come around and interview us, different people, you know, radio and stuff. And my first memory of Lewis is that whenever I was getting interviewed, he would be like behind the person who was interviewing me doing something, anything, like it might be push-ups. But then as soon as I'd laugh, the interview would turn around and Lewis would just be standing there like this.
It's my job.
And then,
being silly.
Anyway, sorry. I'm probably going to get distracted with stories like that a lot as we go on. But to start properly, let's go to the beginning. Because Lewis, I know you started cartooning in your 20s. You and I are like the same age. We're very close to the same age. But I was wondering, like we both grew up in the 60s. I would like to know, what was the comics scene like there? Or maybe start with, like, what was the first comic that kind of caught your attention?
I don't remember because my father was selling books. So I had books everywhere in my room because my room is the room where the stock were placed. So maybe I'm like every young people in France. I start with Tintin, with Asterix, with Lucky Luke, but also with American stuff like Fred Gottfredson or Karl Barks, because I had many Donald Duck's stories from 40s and 50s.
Okay, so we're a lot of us in America we're very familiar with Tintin and some of those books. The format is very different than what we were used to. We had the floppies. So is that pretty much how comics were available? Because comics were also in the newspapers for me growing up. So it was like sometimes I was reading them in the newspaper on Sundays in color, and then sometimes I'd have to go down to the drugstore to buy them off the rack. Were they just for sale in bookstores or stalls, or how did you get comics back then? Well, you said your dad brought them into the house.
Yes, I have hardcover books like Tintin, Asterix, and Lucky Luke, but also floppy magazines like Spirou or Mickey magazine, and Mickey Mouse magazine, and Pif Gadget. Pif Gadget was very famous in France because you have a gadget included in the magazine for free, and you can build many things with plastic toys, and it was like a gift.
So, Terry, I don't know how old you are, but when did you first start reading comics?
Well, I'm 58 actually, so I began to read comics about at the same time as you guys, and it was about the same thing. I was very much into Pif Gadget, as Louis mentioned, and also then after that Metal Hurlant, which was quite of the equivalent of a heavy metal, in the US. And but I also read loads of fumettis, which were like Italian comics, actually, and cowboy stories and stuff like that, which were coming from Italy, basically, and which were published in a small black and white digest format in France. And they were on the spin racks as well, in bookstores. And so I read loads of those things as well, and that actually laid the background of everything, that I liked in comics, and which eventually, drew me to US comics, most especially, which is what I'm doing today. I like editing US comics in French.
Now, Editions Delcourt, is that's really grown. I mean, I first started being published by them in the mid '90s, and it was Guy Delcourt. He's a character, but he's very smart, and he's very fun, and he was ambitious. But it was not a huge label at that time, but it is now. Yeah, it's like one of the largest.
It's a group, actually, what we call it. It's the combination of several companies all together, and we have like we are about 130 people now all together, all companies included. And by the time you met Guy, and he began to publish Bone in French, actually, which must have been roughly around 30 years ago, if I'm correct, for the first edition of Bone in black and white. And then I actually picked up the other editions of Bone after that, and then we did the omnibus, we did the colored edition, and then we did Russell, and soon we'll be doing Tukey as well. A fantastic book. Oh yeah, that's lined up, and I mean, the company basically in the mid '80s was basically him and him. So he was a one-man army corps, at the beginning, and then he. The company grew, and he was surrounded by I guess, talented people at the time, and loads of very nice creators, including Lewis, who joined the company as an editor and an author later on. And And today that makes Delcourt the first independent comics publisher in France and one of the largest altogether.
Wow, that's incredible, and that is a great
Delcourt
third act.
is like Uncle Scrooge. He grows up and he keeps the money for him, but we don't see the money by ourselves. He agrees.
But I missed the first part of that.
Delcourt is
he
like
said that
Uncle Scrooge.
He said like that Guy is like Uncle Scrooge, you know.
He is. I think he has a money bin somewhere for sure. I think he's driven me past it a couple times. All right, let's go to. I want to talk about Lapinot. So this rabbit character, these adventures, I love those. I'm not sure I understand why it was called Makoti here, but it's really wonderful. The two characters that run through these adventures, and then the fact that they aren't always in the same time frame. You know, sometimes they're medieval, sometimes they're in modern France. That's actually sets the stage for a lot of the way I see your work, Lewis, is that you often set up something and get me, the reader, expecting something, and then you just take it in a completely different direction. And you do that 100%, to me anyway, throughout your career. Tell me a little bit how Lapinot came about.
At the beginning, I wasn't a good cartoonist. I wanted to write stories, but I didn't expect it to be a cartoonist, to draw something, because my drawing wasn't very good. I can show you if you want my first drawings. It's yes. Okay.
Something special and exclusive, you know.
Yeah, it's not exclusive. It was like this. You see, it's the same character with the same head, with the mouth closed and the mouth open. And I xeroxed the heads, and I just put some dialogues. And I do it during maybe 2 years, 3 years. And then I was bored. I thought I had to move on. I have to find a new way to draw. So I told to myself, okay, let's make a challenge. Let's do 500 pages of a story and just improvise. And I've done this first page here. Yes. So it's not very well drawn, but because I wasn't a good cartoonist, it's the first appearance of Lapinot.
That's very cool.
But I didn't know it will be the hero. I think he will be dead about 3 or 4 pages later. But he was still alive again and again, and I've done 500 pages.
Is he still alive? Here, wait, right there.
And he's still alive at the end. And my drawing was getting better and better. And then I say, okay, maybe I can become a cartoonist.
I love your drawing style, especially when you get to the point with your autobiographical character, the bird. We'll get to that when we get to Little Nothings. So at this point, I got this off of Wikipedia that you like in 1993 or 94 you won like in Angoulême, you won like a prize for your best first book. Was it for that book you just showed us?
No, not this one. It was another. I won a prize in 94. It was for this book.
I love this.
Oh
yes.
So it's Lapinot Adventures at the mountain, skiing. Every publisher refused to do this book, So we've done it at l'association, and we won the prize. And after this prize, every publisher wanted to do my books.
Well, I know that feeling. Yeah, no, it's I mean, when I went out into the world with Bone, I started off showing it to like newspaper companies to run it as a comic strip, and it was like no, 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 no. And then when I decided to do a comic book, I didn't even bother showing it to anybody. I knew nobody was going to do it. So what do? You have to figure out a way to publish it yourself. So you got together with quite a crew, though. That was a big group that created l'association.
Mhm.
Did you guys all know each other just from hanging out at Angoulême or other events? How did you know that group?
We
Met
met
you.
before in '89 because we wanted to do a magazine together. Jean-Christophe Menu was the leader, and he brings every people together. And after the magazine, the review, we decide to build our own company to show comics can be different than Tintin or Asterix.
Yeah, and it worked.
It worked, yes.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was my memory. Well, one of the big events that came across the pond was in 2000. That big giant anthology, the Association 2000, I think it was called.
Yes.
That was so impressive. But that was 10 years after you guys founded the company. So there's a lot of story in there.
And we almost collapsed because of this anthology Comics 2000, because we paid everyone for the 2000 pages. So it was very, very expensive. And we just survived because Marjan Satrapi have done Persepolis, and we won money with Persepolis. If Marjan wasn't there, we died.
Well, let me just explain to the U.S. audience. So this independent publishing company that Lewis formed with a group of about 12 other cartoonists, they were the first to publish Marjan Satrapi's Persepolis, and apparently doing that right after this giant anthology that I thought was brilliant, but it almost sunk the company. Apparently, Marjan pulled their goose out of the fire there. So I think I mixed some metaphors, but I don't think it matters. So so now, did you do? So was Dungeon an association, or was that somewhere else?
You're sorry?
The book
Dungeon,
you did
Dungeon.
with
Jean Sfar?
Jean Sfar, yes.
Yes. It's at Delcourse Publishing.
Oh, it was?
Yes.
Ah, I did not realize that. But that was a very successful book. Now who started that? Was that your idea, or were you just talking together, or how did that get started?
Johan Sfar and I were working together in Paris on the same workroom. And when I moved in the south of France, Johan was frustrated. He wanted to do something with me. And every month, he sent me a new project of a story. And I said, no, it's not good. And maybe 3 years later, he proposed me the beginning of Dungeon. And I said, maybe it could be interesting. And we start to do it together. But I was supposed to do only the drawing. And I said to Johan, no, I can't just do the drawing. It will be boring for me. I need to get involved with you in the scenario. And we've done the scenario together. And after, Johan was frustrated because he wanted to draw also an adventure. So he told to me, yes, maybe we can do the adventure of the characters, but when they get older. And I said, no, we have too much work together to do. You have Rabbit's Cat to do. I have a Lapino on the dungeon. It's enough. And he said, okay. But 2 days later, he sent me 5 pages he'd done alone. And it was very, very good. So I said, okay, we can do it. But as a joke, I told him, maybe we can do something in the past when the character was younger. And he said, yes, let's do it. And we asked Christophe Blanc to do the drawing. And then I said, maybe we can do another dungeon story with other characters. It can be in the past, in the future. And say, yes, we can do it. And now we have 6 different ways to
series. Yeah.
Yes, 6 different series of dungeon. It's incredible because when we are working together, we hate holidays. So we are going in holidays together, but just not to go to the swimming pool, just to work together. Our wife are talking together, and we are working on playing together with our characters. And maybe we wrote 2 or 3 stories in 1 week.
Wow.
It's very quick.
So wait, so I missed that. So did Bridget come on these, or she did not?
Yes, but just to do the cooking. Don't tell her. Don't tell her.
I'm telling her. I'm telling her you said that.
But you've got the whole process of how to create a monster, because Dungeon was a sole project to begin with, and then it's a 6 or more series now. It's a whole universe.
Yes.
And I think I misspoke earlier. I think I was referring to Dungeon when I was talking about the characters that move through time, like. So that's all very interesting. You've actually been involved with quite a few projects that I did not know about, I didn't find the translations or somehow, like something that's like Alien. Is that
Yes.
with a lot of ease? I actually don't know about that project.
I have to take it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. This is Alien.
Okay.
It's a silent book, almost silent, but there are some dialogues. But it's an alien dialogues, and it's a story I was supposed to find in the forest after the landing of a UFO. So it's not supposed to be my drawing. And I thought we were walking in the forest with my wife Brigitte and my kids, and we found that comic books, but comic books. Yes, it's a facsimile. We say facsimile. Yes, it's a facsimile of the Alien book.
You have translated the Alien book for us.
Yes, and Alien means anthology of literature for kids. Alien kids, but loose.
Oh, that is terrific. I got to find that because that does not need to be translated.
Yes, it's cruel. It's very cruel. You have dead characters, and you have kids. And
it's very cool.
This character can't stop to shit.
It's very cruel.
So when he moves on, the shit is still after him. I was young. I was very young when I.
It's a lovely. No, it's a lovely.
I'm not able to do it.
Mais tu disais que c'était cool ou que c'était cruel?
Cruel.
Yeah.
Cruel. Okay, right.
It's not cool. It's
cool.
It's also very cool, actually.
Yes. No, but I get it. It's a children's book, so it's very dead people and starving children.
But it's also for adults. I always do stories for 2 levels, for kids and adults. That's why publisher didn't want to publish me, because my drawing is look like for kids, but the story are more for adults, and they said, "Oh, it's not useful. We can't sell it." But there are 2 levels always, like you.
I agree. I've kind of been pigeonholed into I'm a children's author, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I wrote Bone to work on two levels. I thought it should work as, you know, a comic strip like something Gottfredson or Karl Barks would do for kids, but also work for adults that liked Karl Barks and liked, you know, grown-up comics. Cartoon heads is the term I use, and I think that's why I'm so drawn to your comics as well. I really, really like them. Um, well, we have to talk about winning the Grand Prix at Angoulême. This is a big deal. That is a big deal. So you win this award, and you also then are the president of the festival for the next year. And I know there was a lot going on at Angoulême behind the scenes that year. There was a lot of wanting to have more, you know, more diversity and stuff like that. You don't really need to get into that unless you want to. But there was a lot going on. And I also know you designed the mascot, which is, I love that little drawing. I don't know. I don't really have a question. I just think that's really impressive. Well, how did you design the cat, and how did that come up? Let's start with that.
It's a very funny story, because when the festival asked me to do the mascot of the festival, I said, why choosing me? Because I'm not a good cartoonist. Ask Blush, ask someone else. And they said, no, we want to do something like a Mariscal for the Olympic Games in Barcelona. And we want something simple. And then I remember when I was coming back from a trip from South Korea. Maybe I have it somewhere. You have few seconds.
Sure. So Terry, so how you doing, man?
Well, I'm cool. Well, this is exactly the moment you should actually show us some pictures, you know,
Yes, this would be a good
of
moment.
Lewis' book and all.
Edited.
Nice breaks, you know. No, I'm fine, yeah. Oh, I'm surprised that you didn't know that Donjon was published by Delcourt, you know. I'm not shy, you know me, but you know, listening to you guys, you know, is so interesting. So I don't want to interrupt. But yeah, okay, I plug things, you know, like it's not a big surprise actually to see that you guys, I mean, you and Bone and Lewis in his stories, you know, work on two levels, because when you look at what Lewis was doing, you know, was reading when he was a kid, you know, he was reading Asterix, and Asterix is exactly about that, you know, having like two levels of readership. You know, you can actually have it read by kids, and it's nice, and adults love it, obviously, you know, and the success is still here.
Well, there's other touch points for Lewis and I as well. What he was doing in 1990 by creating, you know, l'Association, and what I was doing in the U.S. with the self-publishing movement.
Sure.
Artistically, those two things were very similar, and they were sizable movements that were, you know, aiming at the same thing, about developing and nurturing creators as authors and artists, and comics as an art form. And there was other movements in the U.S. that were happening at the same time, like the Image guys that all quit from Marvel and set up their own publishing houses.
Yeah, it was a very, very important movement too, and that shows that talent, you know, can be stopped. Actually, you guys are creative powerhouses, and it had to find its way anyway, you know, and the way you did it, you know, by self-publishing. But I will also, you know, bring, for example, Thierry Mornet on the table, who you very much know, you know, and he's done the same thing as well, you know, and self-publishing is the key for some of you guys who are so talented, you know, that you are.
Yeah,
okay.
So
Lewis is back.
I just want to, and Lewis, while you were sitting down, we got a really good look at the fact that your shirt completely matches our entire color scheme, because you are Lewis.
Enjoy.
Enjoy. Right.
I didn't find the book. I'm sorry. I don't know where I put it. I lose my pages. I lose everything. It's a pity. But but when I came back from Korea, I had a little sketchbook, and I draw little characters with that characters.
Yeah.
Maybe I draw 20, 50 different scenes, and I just let it like that during maybe 2 years. And then when Angoulême Festival asked me to do the mascot, I told them, no, I'm not able to, but they insist. And I said, maybe it could be that character. And I just draw it, the character I've done 2 years before. And it was a
Earlier, yeah.
character, and I showed them, and they said, yes, we want it.
It's brilliant. It's very memorable. It's very strong, and of course we'll have pictures of it up on the screen when we actually show this interview. So Terry, do you have any questions we could throw into Lewis?
No, I've been admiring, Louis' work for years, and yours as well. But I don't have to say that because I have the chance to be your editor in France, and we've worked together for now many years, and it's always such a pleasure. But I was just one question, since both of you guys are here online. Is there any way we could actually work on a crossover, between one of the characters from Dungeon and Bone? Because to me, it seems so natural, at some point.
There is one. One exists already. When I think we were in Barcelona.
Yes, we were there.
And we were in a bar in a hotel waiting for a van to take us somewhere. And I remember Lewis just grabbed these coasters, little coasters you put your beer on.
Yeah.
And he started a comic. He says, let's start a comic. And he just starts drawing the comic. He draws his character on one half talking, and he drew the little bird character. That's him, and he's talking to. And then I'd answer back phone bone, and we did. I can't do like a 3-panel thing. And I remember as and then I realized very quickly that Lewis was setting me up because he was going first in each panel. So we basically did 3 or 4 coasters. And then each one of those coasters was a panel, but he kept trying to make it more difficult for me to answer. Almost impossible. But by the end, I remember he gave me the last one. And I was like, how am I going to get out of this? And then the van pulled up. But I whipped off a little end, and hopefully I can find that. Well, somewhere I have pictures of
that. Would be nice, yeah, just to be able to publish that,
I don't keep them. You have them somewhere.
I either have them or I have pictures of them somewhere. I'll find them. Well, or I'll have Kathleen will find them. Hey, Kathleen.
Okay. Kathleen, yeah, she's the one digging up stuff for you.
She's our production manager, but she keeps my head screwed on tight for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, and now you are. Oh, how are we doing? Oh, we're getting here. We're getting towards the end there, so I want to make sure we've covered what we need to. I know, like, you're currently in charge of the shampooing imprint at Editions Delcourt, and that's comics for kids.
So it was supposed to be for kids, but finally it's for everyone.
2 levels.
Yes, 2 levels. But I'm also a publisher for Dupuis Publishing, and I'm doing a collection here. It's for kids. It's history for kids. And
I have to look in here.
Translated in English in the USA.
Huh?
And it's very interesting because I wanted to do something for kids to teach them history, but not boring history. So
did you draw any of that or write any of that?
I thought about the spirit of the collection.
So he's actually the editor.
So I'm the editor, but I'm not the cartoonist.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's very cool. I like those kind of books. Are there any comics you're working on right now?
Right now, I'm doing a new Lapino comics, but I'm trying to find a new way to draw. Maybe you remember 2 years or 3 years ago, I drew on the Moleskine notebooks, one drawing every day, and I post it on Instagram. And it's a full story with Lapino, and it's 360.
You can't stop him.
Oh my God! Hey, Lewis, I'll give you $1 for that notebook.
I have 12 of these books.
Oh my
month.
God. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, I can't wait for that. That's going to be fantastic. Do you remember you and I had a conversation at one point and we were talking about what we were working at, and I don't remember where we were. But you were talking about a project. Well, first I'll talk about my project. I was talking about, I had this idea for a story where I was going to have a character who was a grown an adult and a young person, and that they were really two versions of the same person, and that they were just going to go on some kind of adventure. I don't know if you remember that. You, at the same time, were working on something where you were your icon, your bird character, as you was going around and talking to, you know, your peers or even some of your heroes in comics. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
No, no.
I,
Did you do that? Did you ever do that? Did you ever talk to like the other cartoonists that you were talking about?
yes. Of course, I've done this book.
Well, that guy has about 10 IDs a day. So,
Yeah.
sometimes, some of them just fly away.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, I have to mention also why he's actually away from the screen that I had the chance to edit one of his book called Density, which is kind of a comic book, and this book is going to be reprinted as an omnibus as part of the shampooing imprint that Lewis is editing, soon in France, and it's in color.
It's this book.
All right.
Maybe I'm talking about old cartoonists. On the way they are doing shit when they are getting older. This is my original art. I've done it on a notebook.
Oh my God, this is amazing. So you do all your stuff. That's how you work. You do them in books.
It happens, yes. Sometimes I do. Maybe I've done 10 of my books like this.
That's very interesting.
That's the best way for you not to lose pages, or?
Yes, and I can travel with it. I have all the pages, and I can travel, and I can work when I'm on the
away, yeah,
highway station or the airport.
Well, what if you want to make a change or an edit? How do you keep track of that?
Sorry?
What if you want to?
Mais comment est-ce que tu parviens à garder la trace de tout ça? En fait, si tu as besoin de faire, par exemple, des changements sur les pages précédentes, comment tu procèdes?
I don't change anything. If I have to change something, I cut the page and I throw it. But if you want, I can show you some of my books.
Of course, he does it. He inks it. He doesn't even pencil. He just inks it. So no erasers or whiteouts. Oh, I love
erasers.
And yes. This is books I've done on notebooks, and also there.
Yeah. This is
Bourbon Island. This is autobiographical stuff.
What's that underneath? What's on the shelf below?
Et qu'est-ce qu'il y a en dessous là alors? Qu'est-ce que tu nous montres qu'il y a en dessous les livres justement là? Oh, yeah.
It's the book I've done with Brigitte about when she was a children in Iraq. Maybe you know, it's Puppies of Iraq, published by Dronan Quarterly. I can show you.
Ce sont les pages originales, ouais.
Yes, it is. Brigitte told me the story, and I've done the pages. This is the house that she was living, and I've done. It's her father and her mother, and we have done 100 pages like this.
Wow.
Would you mind showing us where do you have like a box of pencils or paintbrushes somewhere?
Yes. So this is Brigitte when she was young.
There's no whiteout on that anywhere.
Okay. Yeah.
And
ouais,
she the coloring
Lewis,
of my original art.
Lewis, Jeff demandait si tu serais à même de montrer justement avec quoi tu travailles, tes outils, en fait, les pinceaux, les crayons, ce genre de choses.
Alors, It's a mess, totally mess. Yes, that's my favorite fountain pen.
Tool.
It's Namiki fountain pens.
Yeah.
I can put inside carbon ink.
Okay.
It's comment on dit, ça ne bouge pas les stylos.
Oh, I mean, so it doesn't dry actually inside the pen, so that's very nice. It remains fluid.
Yes.
So it basically it absorbs up through the pen. Is that what it is?
Yes. After I can put some watercolor directly on the drawing. This is a drawing I've done yesterday, just for fun.
And you're going to color? Are you going to color directly on that inked thing?
Maybe not this one, but I start a new book. I think it's here. Just because I found a pen, a gray pen, I thought it was interesting to do the backgrounds with the gray pen. And maybe you can see, I start a story. Just to use the gray pen for the background, the mountains. And after...
Yeah, that's amazing.
Donc c'est parfois what's interesting is that sometimes the tool actually dictates what it's going to create afterwards.
Yes.
You know, in that case, that's the gray pen, which actually drives him to do something special, so he can use actually the tool. That's very nice. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, I feel like it's just getting really. I'm getting all worked up. I love seeing cartoonist workstations. It just shows so much about their personality, and it's also like a secret magic being exposed. I love that.
And this is a magic tool for mosquitoes.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know what you use that for.
Well, because he lives in an area where there are loads of mosquitoes. Maybe that's the reason why.
Yes. It's very important. Well, it's absolutely wonderful. It was so great to talk to you, Lewis, and thank you so much, Terry.
Thank you, Jack.
And thank you for sharing your workspace with us. That's a real treat, and it's very rare. Is there anything you'd like to say as we go out, Terry?
Well, you know, I've been listening and drinking, you know, milk and honey, you know, just to the both of you guys, you know, it's so interesting. And again, well, I can't wait to read your respective next books, you know, being it, you know, what Lewis creates, you know, day in, day out. And of course, since I subscribed to the book, you know, I'm just waiting for my hard copy of Tukey, you know, a book I've been following for years now.
We got them from the printer. We actually got them.
Yeah, I know that. I've been following the newsletter, so I know. And I just can't wait to read it. You know, it's just bravo. And thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, well, thank you. And Lewis, I can't wait till we can get back together, man, and we can draw on some coasters again.
Yes, I hope we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get together again in Barcelona or Columbus or New York, San Diego, or somewhere around the world.
So we will
and work on that crossover, guys.
Yeah. And thanks to Cartoon Crossroads Columbus for sponsoring this talk. All right, guys. Au revoir.
Thanks.
Au revoir. Merci beaucoup. Cheers.